Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, coming to you with a very special fall garden tour from my parents' Zone 8 garden here in Aiken, South Carolina. Now, Mom, you often avoid YouTube videos, so introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, I'm Brienne's mom. Happy fall.
And with me, I have a very special guest.
Hi, I'm Louise from Denmark in Europe.
And Louise and I are on day 7 of a tour that started in Athens, Georgia at the International Plant Propagator Society Southern Region meeting. And I have the pleasure of taking Louise all over the Southeast to visit gardens and nurseries. And we are starting here in lovely Aiken. So let's turn the camera around and show everybody what your garden looks like now that you have had your first frost.
Yes, we had our frost on Wednesday and Thursday.
It's a very early frost for everyone's reference. Often they don't get frost here until like after Thanksgiving. In your 4 years here,
Yes,
this is your
this is the
earliest
first,
frost.
yes.
All right, well, let's get busy on the garden tour.
Enjoy.
So we're gonna start right here on the corner of the front of your house.
And this is my favorite space right here. It brings me the greatest joy. Oh, you just got to see Lily coming in. It's done with perennials and annuals. And I've had constant bloom in here all spring and summer and even this early fall. Oh, there she goes. Doing very well.
So for everyone's reference, we've got lantana blooming right here. And we have ageratum right here. And salvia right here. We've got white encore azaleas blooming a little bit there. That giant nephofia there, that's usually in bloom for Thanksgiving because that's a short day bloomer. Your solidago has basically just finished. That would have been the yellow in the back. So this is actually like almost the crinum, of course, the crinum right here. Jenks Farmer, who designed this landscape, that's his signature plant. And Tagetes lemonii behind it, which is just starting to set flower buds. You can see right here. This is another short day plant. This is the Mexican marigold that has a really strong fragrance that animals absolutely hate. So it's a really practical plant. All right, so we're gonna continue walking this way. You can see some fall color shining up here. And oh yeah, the beauty berries here, which I think I brought you these.
Yep, yes you did.
So this is Callicarpa accuminata. And I talk about this in my garden a lot. You see it has really dark berries. This is another Mexican native. Everything in your woodland is looking clean and tidy. Would you like to explain your process?
Yes, we did a nice clean out. I did, and I had a gentleman, small business owner come in and help clean out, removing the leaves, because we had never done that in the 4 years that we've lived here, and it's manageable now. I'm not taking it out on a regular basis, but it was a good 18 inches to 2 feet deep, and it just didn't feel and look pretty.
Well, it does look clean and tidy now, like it's a managed woodland. We were joking at drinking coffee today that if they wanted low maintenance, they wouldn't micromanage their woods. But for now, it's what you want.
That's right.
So across the front, I always use pictures of this landscape in my presentations before they moved in. This was awful. I told them not to buy the house because the landscape was so bad. And it's amazing how it's filled in 4 years' time using a lot of native plants. And of course, Mom's mixed in some mums and marigolds and other things, but lots of ornamental grasses. You can see the coleus definitely got nipped, but not too bad. It was a light frost here in Aiken. The baccharis is just starting to bloom. That's a great kind of fill in the gaps native plant. Now, the question this morning was, where did that pampas grass come from? Because it was not planted. It's crowding the Edgeworthia, which in my opinion is a far more valuable plant.
I agree.
And so the recommendation is that they dig that out. It looks like, it's also crowding be an amaryllis or some hardy bulb in there. And my gut is telling me that that is a seedling that blew in from a neighbor's bad landscape. Because honestly, in 2022, nobody should be planting pampas grass. We know it's invasive. It doesn't really serve any ecological value. And, well, that's obviously not where you would want one because it's adjacent to your pathway. Now you can see your Brugmansia definitely got nipped, but that's totally hardy. And you don't really even have to cut this back, do you?
I do cut it back.
You do cut it.
Every about February.
Okay. Which is generally what I recommend. If you cut back these stalks too early, they're hollow. And what will happen, in fact, I can show you a cut back stalk here. You can see how if it doesn't harden off properly, the stalk will fill with water and then the plant will rot out. And so that's why it's generally recommended that you leave it up after a frost, because it's not that it isn't cold hardy in zone 7, it's that we get, you know, a lot of rain through the winter season and those hollow stems will make the plant rot. So sometimes your management strategies are actually just thinking a little bit more critically about the, you know, climate of the winter season and then planning to accommodate for that. Your lantana here looks great. You didn't even plant that thinking it would be hardy.
No, I did not. I did not.
And you've done a lot in here. I'm sure a lot of people watching this video have seen videos from here over the years. And this was getting really wild and it was really overtaken by weedy things that you hadn't planted.
Correct.
And so you really wrangled this down in a shocking way. Of course, the salvia leucanthas are always a winner. Much more vigorous and hardy here in zone 8 compared to my zone 7. I have a lot of zone 8 envy. And yeah, with a landscape area this large, it's just a lot to manage. I would, of course, fill this with winter seed. And I think you have plenty of poppies, right? To scatter in here, try to get them established. Fill in some of the open space and make it more interesting in the spring.
Teddy has a girlfriend that sings every morning to him at 6 o'clock, the Star Spangled Banner. And he sits in bed and watches her sing.
So everyone, this is Lily, my parents' new kitten. You might remember in July when we came down, we brought Reginald, and I immediately got COVID. And we brought Reginald back home to live in North Carolina, and Mom and Dad were like, wait, we do want a kitten. And so they went the next week and got this sweet little thing. And you'll notice she has a GPS tracker on her collar that is bigger than her. But it's pretty cute. Have you tallied her steps?
Yeah, I get them on a weekly basis.
So how many miles a week does she walk? 1.8 miles a week. This little cat covers some ground.
I still have some tomatoes going, and it was a rough year down here for tomatoes in Aiken, but I did get a nice harvest, I have to say. And I've been harvesting the cream sausages recently.
And these are Bree's picks. Woohoo! This is Peche. So note, tomatoes don't love the southeast in the summer. Tomatoes are native to the Andes mountain range where it's never 1 billion degrees and they have cool night temperatures. So now that we're in fall, you can see they're covered in blooms. As long as you stay relatively frost-free, you'll get a really nice fall harvest from these. Tomatoes don't get pollinated when it's over 90, which is almost the entire summer. So tomatoes are really tricky in the southeastern climate, and it's a plant that everyone starts with, and it's really the plant that will make you feel like a failure. Now behind that is the most wonderfully fragrant Osmanthus fragrans, and here in zone 8 the habit of this plant is to kind of continuously bloom throughout the winter, and so you get to enjoy that fragrance for like 4 months. In zone 7 they usually bloom in October and that's it. So another reason that I have zone 8 envy. Really, Lily is our tour guide today, just giving her another acknowledgement. She's like, follow me. So all of the pots here still look really nice. We're here at the land yacht. Those of you who followed the HOA drama, they finally, everything is settled and everyone is happy. And it's a really fun place to hang out. I love these cosmos, Mom.
Oh, thank you. I just planted them about 4 weeks ago when I saw you and Jim talk about it.
Did you do them from seed?
Yes, I did.
Very good. And really, cosmos are ones that do so well planted later in the season. You know, I planted mine July 15th from seed, but you can plant them much later. And actually along the highways, they have these huge stands. Actually, now that I'll have a co-pilot, we'll get pictures of the highway plantings. There's like acres and acres of cosmos along North Carolina highways that is to die for. And all here, they have an incredibly dense screen so they don't see neighbors. And everything's working out well. You can see the PV minaret taxodiums are really getting some good size, and in between those are clumping bamboo. So they're Fargesia, and they're managing them just by cutting out the sort of tall water sprouts. And that's actually the kitten Lily's one of her favorite exterior toys. So there's a double use for those sprouts. All right, so here we've got Stephanie Golden, and it's just starting to bloom. This is a absolutely knockout camellia. You can see it's a beautiful kind of semi-double pink, but look at how many flower buds there are, and this is in full sun. So this is the difference between a Sasanqua, the fall bloomers, and a Japonica. Japonicas really need to be in a lot more shade. This is, oh my God, I cannot wait to see pictures of this when all of these flowers open. Oh, Stephanie Golden. Everybody should have this.
First time in 2 years.
So this is Leonotis, I believe Leonotis leonoris. I might be wrong on the species. And this is another short day plant. I really love it. It's got these big furry, almost salvia-like blooms that are bright orange. And it's hardy. But some years you don't get the flowers because you get frost too early. But this one didn't get nipped at all. I mean, you can see right next to it, the coleus did get burnt. Or didn't get too cold. And of course, we planted all of the Treasure Island sweet potatoes, and they are doing great. You can see they have a little frost damage as well. But that's okay because it's getting to be time to harvest these. And since these are in pots, harvest is super easy. All you're gonna do is turn the pot upside down in a wheelbarrow and collect the tubers.
Okay.
And we will be eating those for Thanksgiving, which is our tradition.
Yes.
We have sweet potato tastings every Thanksgiving with all the different cultivars in the Treasure Island series. And while we're talking about Treasure Island sweet potatoes, here's the pot where we planted a bunch of different varieties together. So you can see this sort of heart-shaped leaf that's black. You can see this one that's more like an ace of spades. You see the green. I don't see any of the chartreuse. Maybe we didn't get those in for you. And you can also see that they're abundant bloomers. You know, you've got flowers that are about to open here. Of course, sweet potatoes are in the morning glory family. They are not related to traditional potatoes at all. They're a different family altogether. And I think this is going to be a really fun pot for you to undo. Well,
I look forward to it.
Going to demand that you get it recorded.
Okay, all right.
So that's Ilex vomitoria pendula, the weeping Yaupon, which is a native holly. Actually, at the State Botanical Garden, the lady was explaining how the Native Americans actually used this as a tea, and it has caffeine.
Yeah.
So, of course, they would overdrink it, which would then cause hallucinations and vomiting.
Yeah.
And the European settlers took it very literally and gave it a really terrible species name, hence Ilex vomitoria. but it's easy to remember. And you can see the berry set is really high, and all winter long, it's got these beautiful red berries. So for those of you who want native plants in your landscape, but you want something that's green, you know, fully evergreen, both upright and weeping, but there's also dwarf Yaupon, which grows like a green meatball. It's perfectly fine to go as a replacement for some of these more common Asian plants. Ilex vomitoria is a really good option. Okay, we're on a peanut mission. Mom is very excited to show me that the peanuts we planted back in April.
Yes.
Oh yes, you have got
I
peanuts.
got peanuts, look.
Yes, you do.
See? There's, and I have more in there.
Well, wait until you pull the whole plant out.
Yes.
Look at all those peanuts right there.
Oh, I see them. Look, right there, yes.
So what you do, you're gonna pull these out when you rip this bed out, and this is a great place for you to fill in with like, you know, the seed, the poppy seeds and things like that.
Okay.
But you'll pull these out and then you'll set them upside down on like in a sunny spot and let them cure for a few days.
Okay.
And I can't believe how well this Asclepias is doing. You can see bees are still here. There's actually still monarchs all around. We saw a lot of monarchs in Athens. And this basil is like the pollinator magnet.
Now there's a big bee right there. You can see the bees.
And totally untouched by frost out here. Oh, here's where we put all your chartreuse. Treasure Island. And notice that the deer have eaten essentially every leaf off of them. But I bet you'll still get sweet potatoes produced from here.
Okay.
So remember, when you dig these, it's where they were originally planted is where the tubers are going to be at. They don't actually set tubers along the stems, even if they root in. The tuber production is only from the original stem that you plant.
Okay, thank you.
So last spring we did a planting of blood lilies, and you could see the foliage is coming up really well. Those all came from Jenks. I like this vinca. Did you plant that or did that
came from
seed?
Yeah, that's me. I planted seed.
That's awesome. It looks really good. So this bed is filling in nicely. And did these bloom?
I had one flower bloom. Yes.
Okay, they need to produce energy through photosynthesizing. They'll go dormant, and next year you'll probably get really good flowering.
Okay.
But really, the driveway entry here is so extraordinary at this time of year because of all the pink muley grass. And the sun's a little harsh, but as we walk up this way, you can see the beautiful fronds of the Muhlenbergia. I did read this had a species name change. Wow, that's something in the sky. Here is white cloud, my favorite. I love them both and I love them together. But the white cloud I think is just so extraordinary. And I do love this little perennial mum and the two together. So outstanding. And I think all of their neighbors are quite pleased with their exuberant yet interesting landscape, which is always something to be celebrated when you live in a neighborhood with a really strict HOA. I mean, who could possibly complain about pink muley grass? That was a really good call to put it out here in such abundance so that everyone can enjoy the view. Well, and you may remember we did a rice planting here, and of course this rice is more than ready to be harvested. Looks like birds have been eating a lot of it, which is of course a great purpose for doing that. And here in the edge of the woodland, more Camellia sasanquas are blooming. So that is Autumn Spirit, looking amazing. This is Snow Flurry, always a favorite. And I'd just say overall, everything here in Aiken is looking cheerful and colorful and very autumn-like. It's a great time of year to be in the southeast where we have mild temperatures and really beautiful blue skies. And of course, plenty of horticultural interest to keep everyone excited.
Grandpa's a house, you know.
And now everyone, you're graced with Teddy's presence, and he's
Running.
that's a
That's how
classic.
Teddy runs.
That's a classic Chunky Cat run there.
That's right.
I could tag Chunky Cats on Instagram, and they would share that. Hey Ted.
Ted Bear.
Teddy bear.
Hi, hon. Come on. Could be some turkey in your future. Could be.
If anyone's questioning how he got his form,
Watch this.
turkey might be a part of it.
Come on, Teddy. Oh, there you are. He's always my helper, Brian. Always my shadow. Sister Governor.
Oh, that's sweet. Well, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this tour of my parents' Zone 8 garden here in Aiken, South Carolina. I'm looking forward to heading north and getting home, and I will definitely give you updates from my garden and see how everything fared since we had our first hard frost just a few days ago, and I haven't been home to even see it. Well, as always, thanks so much for watching, everybody, and happy gardening.